Glenn Lazarus leading out the side tonight, backing up, of course, from last night's State of Origin defeat in Sydney for New South Wales. He'd be feeling pretty weary, Glenn Lazarus, but he knows that this is a big game for the Melbourne Storm tonight. Getting a very good reception too from the North Queensland crowd. As parochial as the Cowboys supporters are, they realise what a good job this side has done. But missing, of course, from the Melbourne side tonight, Rodney Howe, who was out of State of Origin last night, and also Robbie Kearns from last night's State of Origin not backing up.
Yeah, they're a couple of the big guns that they really have relied heavily on during the year, as is this man here, Tawera Nikau, a great footballer, experienced at test level and also a number of seasons originally with the Cronulla club. He's a very powerful attacking player who really has settled into a new club and a location very well. His ability to create holes in nervous opposition defensive lines has done very well. Marcus Bai, we've got a number of PNG fans that have come down, especially to see him here this evening as well. Yeah, I know there's one chartered flight that came down from Port Moresby this afternoon, and most of them here to support Marcus Bai. What a season he's had. Now the North Queensland Cowboys being led out tonight by Steve Walters, named last night, of course, as one of the State of Origin legends for Queensland, along with the guy at the back, Dale Shearer. So two of the Maroons legends in this side for North Queensland. The reason that Steve Walters is captaining the side is that Ian Roberts, again out with that hamstring injury, and Wally, the mail around North Queensland today is he may struggle to play for the rest of the season, which would be a blow to the Cowboys. Yeah, that's very disappointing. I think that the medical staff is working overtime, probably thinking, well, it can't just be a little bit of a hamstring problem. Perhaps the real base of his spine is a little bit of a problem to him, creating the dangers. But with Roberts out of the side, a lot more responsibility is going to rest on Andrew Duneman's shoulders, a youngster that really has a number of seasons of experience on board. Very smart player, and his variety around the edge of the ruck is always impressive. He's adopted a real authoritative role in this North Queensland game plan, and I think his kicking game really has played a major role in the Cowboys' point scoring.
And a big test for them tonight against one of the form sides of the year, the Melbourne Storm. The kickoff being taken for Melbourne by Brett Kamali. And it'll be North Queensland to bring it out to their own 20. As they do so, let's go down to the sideline and just check what conditions are like at ground level. Good evening, Peter Mulholland.
Good evening, John and Wally. I didn't want to tell you what's going to happen down here. I think it's going to rain. I've got the wet weather gear on. John, there's a strong breeze behind the North Queensland Cowboys at the moment. As you were saying, it's a big test for the Cowboys. I've just got this little feeling that their experienced pack of forwards, without Kearns and Howe and Lazarus being a little bit fatigued for the Storm, may just get away with this match tonight.
Peter, I've got some bad news for you. Townsville is in a rain shadow. Doesn't rain here very often, but when it does, normally get flood rains. So just hope it doesn't rain.
I just hope they don't put the windows in the front of your commentary box up there, John.
That kick just landing on the line on the full. And Brian Grant,
scrum, yes,
maybe just having some communication problems, just checking with Col White, the touch judge, and he'll put a scrum down.
Just relax, fellas, please. Just relax.
Just waiting for the ball to arrive. Now in the hands of Brett Kamali, and he'll work this scrum for the Melbourne Storm just on halfway. Kamali getting it away through Scott Hill. What a great combination they've been this season. Hill and Kamali, two of the form halves in the competition. This is Paul Marquette in a heavy collision with Kyle Warren. Warren certainly has come off the worst for wear. Still on the ground, Kyle Warren, as Tawera Nikau gets it to 35 metres out from the line. Now Glenn Lazarus. Lazarus takes it just inside the North Queensland 30. Swain is the dummy half. Now in the hands of Kamali, turning it back on the inside to pick up Russell Bowden. Bowden gets up to the 20. 5 tackles gone for the Storm. Now back to Kamali. Warren still down in back play as the bomb is put into the air. Now that ball's been knocked and gone over the dead ball line. Referee Brian Grant just having a check with the touch judge, and he'll rule in fact that it did come off the Storm, and so it'll come out to the 20 for the tap restart by North Queensland. Kyle Warren.
He's in a bit of strife, isn't he? That was a very heavy head clash that went on between the pair. Obviously he wasn't just the only one that was wounded. There's the contact coming up, whack, 2 heads go together. Paul Marquette had to leave the field straight after that as well. A bit of danger, of course, when there is bleeding from inside around the tongue area. Best to get the docs to have a look at it real quick.
So John Lomax for North Queensland gets it out to his own 40. Steve Walters at dummy half, the captain tonight, standing in for Ian Roberts. Andrew Doonerman playing the ball back to Mark Shipway. Been a versatile player for North Queensland, Mark Shipway, normally a back, but tonight playing up in the second row. Dale Shearer kicking on the last. Down for Robbie Ross. It was a good kick, well weighted too by Dale Shearer, sending Robbie Ross right back to his own goal line to pick it up. Tackle then made by Josh Hannah. The Storm on their own 10-metre mark. Marcus Bai, one player who certainly doesn't shirk any of the hard work. When they're down inside their own territory, invariably he'll come in and take one of the hit-ups, and he's such a strong player, Marcus Bai. Swain gets it just outside his own 30. That's 5 gone. Now the kick by Brett Camorley. Bouncing up for Dale Shearer, has Ray Mercy with him. May have been a hint of a shepherd there, an unintentional shepherd by North Queensland. Tony Martin just obstructed a little by Noah Nandruku, who was dropping back in support. Let's just have a look at it again. It was Nandruku just bumping into Tony Martin. The referee ruling, though, that it wasn't intentional and play on. Doonerman running it, taking it to the line, and then slipping a pass. He did well to get that back to Jason Deeth. Caught and put over by Ben Rorty. Again, they work it up the short side. Ferris able to get rid of his pass. They get up to the 20-metre mark. Now sent back for the kick on the last. Putting it deep across field and taken by Dale Shearer, who bats it back, but Tawira Nikau was there to pick it up for the Storm. So Melbourne come away with it. Tony Martin tackled on his own 20 by Dale Shearer. Again to Marcus Bai. I think you were right, Peter Mulholland. Is that rain that we see starting to come in?
It's raining on one side of the field, but I'm not being rained on at the moment, so I must be in the rain shadow.
Precisely. The Storm getting it to the halfway. Well, Melbourne will probably
marginal, Robbie. I
feel
had a
at
good
home
look at it.
if it does start to rain.
Marginal. If they had blown the penalty, they would have won. It was one of those calls.
I don't think we have too much to complain about the Melbourne boys there. It looked like the ball was just going to go to ground. But, John, there are some remarkable stats in a game like this. Of course, we've seen North Queensland rely pretty heavily on the use of the bomb. Doesn't seem to worry the Melbourne boys too much, though.
It doesn't, Wally. The incredible stat going into this game is that Melbourne have not conceded a try this season from either a bomb or a kick. All of the tries scored against them are tries that have gone through the hands. Yet North Queensland are the side leading the try scoring from tries off kicks. So it's a real test for both sides here tonight. The Melbourne defence and the North Queensland attack. Marcus Bai taking it 10 inside North Queensland's half. Glenn Lazarus with the go forward, makes 10 metres. Now,
take time.
John Lomax will be called out for this hit on Glenn Lazarus.
John, hang on, mate. You had 2 men in low. The tackle was always going to be difficult for you, but you still come in contact with his head. It's not on. All right?
Penalty going the way of the Melbourne Storm, and this will drive them deep into attack as we look again at the tackle by John Lomax.
Yeah, remember me, Lazo? I used to be on board with you a few years ago at Canberra.
John, the remarkable thing down here, mate, this breeze has done a complete about turn. It's just it's coming right behind the Melbourne Storm at the moment.
That may be one of the reasons why, in fact, I thought at first they were going to kick for line. They then decided to give the ball to Craig Smith, who's kicked very well for the Melbourne Storm this year. Ian Roberts, the injured captain of the North Queensland Cowboys. This kick 30 metres out and 20 metres in from touch. As Peter Mulholland said, the breeze having swung around to be behind this kick now. Hooked by Craig Smith. Going into this game, had a 73% success rate in goal kicking for the Melbourne Storm. The good thing for him was with the breeze behind that kick, it did go dead. So the dropout from the 20 after a penalty kick having gone dead. Run back by Russell Bowden. Throws a pass, which is immediately taken by Owen Cunningham, playing up on the front row tonight. Now put to ground by North Queensland. Referee will blow it up.
Advantage to Melbourne. I wanted that firstly. It wasn't there.
So the penalty being given to Melbourne by Brian Grant. Having first of all played the advantage, no advantage forthcoming. And so again the chance for Melbourne to attack. Glenn Lazarus once more takes it inside the 20. Swain at dummy half, able to give it away to Russell Bowden. To the left-hand side, to Kamali, switching it back inside. Bowden gets to only 5 metres out from the line. Played quickly to Swain, runs out of dummy half. Lomax is there with Dale Shearer to hang on to it. Scott Hill, so dangerous when he runs it to the line. Well read though by the North Queensland defence. Mandruku coming up quickly with Duneman to snuff that attacking raid out. Kamali putting the ball on the toe. Dived on though by North Queensland. So North Queensland repel the first real attacking raid as far as the Melbourne Storm is concerned. Now bring it outside their own 10. On their own 20. Once more to Lomax. 5 tackles gone. Rain still falling here in North Queensland as Duneman kicks. Bounced awkwardly for Robbie Ross. He was in 2 minds whether to take that ball on the full or let it bounce. He took the latter and then had to go back about another 15 metres to reclaim it, which was all helpful for the chasers from North Queensland. So the Storm now on their own 30. Smith put to ground. And with this rain coming down and that breeze really starting to drive the rain in at the moment. Wayne Evans playing it back to Swain, darting well out of dummy half. On the last, in the hands of Kamali, uses the kick, going in behind Ray Mercy, into the in goal, and he'll just shepherd it over the dead ball line. So bringing it back out to the 20 for the restart. In fact, Wayne Evans, it's out there in the 15, Peter Mulholland. Is he one of the... You may have had him at St Greg's in Campbelltown, I think, some years ago, did you?
Yeah, I did in '93, and we took him to Perth with us in '94, John. I was just talking to Coach Chris Anderson about Wayne before. He's a great athlete. He's just one of these fringe players at the moment. He's been playing back up in the Brisbane competition to keep his match fitness up. He's a great athlete, Australian schoolboy, but he just seems to be struggling out there, on a regular first-grade appearance. But that could come, Molly, as you well know, with a little bit of experience as well.
Yeah, you'll get that on board. Just a matter of blending in too, I think, is the most important thing. That'll take time.
Glenn Murphy, who's just come on to give John Lomax a spell on the interchange bench. Duneman pushing his pass, but put to ground by North Queensland. Couldn't be taken by Noah Nandruku. North Queensland got hold of it, but then they drop it. So the referee rules 6 tackles to go. The Cowboys back in possession. Here's Murphy, put over by Ben Rorty. Right on halfway. Jason Deeth will draw the penalty.
Don't roll him over. Hey.
Glenn Lazarus and Brett Kamali going into the tackle. Lazarus low, Kamali over the top. Had him tackled, then tried to roll him on his back, of course, to slow down the play of the ball. And that's what drew the penalty from Brian Grant. So the chance now for the Cowboys to attack. Mercy scored 10 tries already this season. It's the most by any Cowboys player in 1 season. So he's having a great year. Now away to Duneman. Duneman fires it on to Ferris. Straight up the middle come North Queensland. They get to 10 metres out from the line. Owen Cunningham to play the ball. Walters out from dummy half. Looking for a runner. It's Murphy coming back on the inside. Well read though by Paul Marquette in defence. Duneman switching it back on the inside once more. Deeth to play it. 5 metres out from the line. To Duneman. To Murphy. Unloads back to Duneman. Picked up on the bounce. Dale Shearer doubling around him. Shearer using the kick. Too deep. Over the dead ball line and once more back up to the 20. The tap restart coming up for the Storm. Just looking at, watching again as Dale Shearer. Just difficult probably with kicks tonight, the way this breeze is swirling, just to know what sort of weight to put on those kicks.
It's just been a really sloppy start from both sides though too, Johnny. They're not controlling the ball. That's probably one of the few that Newcastle have got to a kick in a decent position. Sorry, North Queensland, I'm going back home. North Queensland have got it in a decent position.
Lazarus gets over halfway for the Storm. Kamali fires the pass out, wanting to pick up Russell Bowden, couldn't do so. North Queensland come up with it. Russell Bowden, who's one Melbourne player, feeling very much at home. He was born at the sugar town of Ingham, just to the north of Townsville, and played all of his early football, about 10 years or so, out in the very tough Mount Isa competition. Then, of course, went to the Brisbane Broncos and the London Broncos before going to Melbourne.
Here, please, mates. Can we go out and get this fixed up? One tackle there, Dale, just relax there.
And that does look nasty for Russell Bowden. Might be back home in his home territory, but not the sort of homecoming you wanted. That's a nasty cut. So Bowden going off to the blood bin, and Glenn Lazarus getting a spell as well. Murphy on halfway, no scorers yet here at Malanda Stadium in Townsville. Rain still falling as the Cowboys take it 8 metres back inside the Storm's half. Duneman away to Ferris. Ferris's kick over the touchline, bouncing into touch. Some 28 metres out from the Storm's line. So going Wally Lewis that just hasn't settled down as yet.
No, it's failed to ignite at the moment, but I think both teams are probably just feeling each other out at the moment, and more importantly, just trying to get the grip on the way that the match will progress, and trying to make sure that they will control the football. I think the balls that they use in the competition at the moment, they're pretty good when they're dry, and they're very good when they're absolutely drenching, soaking wet. But when they've just got half a speck of rain on them, like it has been falling here so far, they get particularly greasy.
So Owen Cunningham getting a rest for North Queensland, and young Paul Pensini coming on, who made his debut last week against St George.
Too early, man. Too early.
Penalty going to Melbourne, inside the 10 against North Queensland.
Well, I hope that he's going to remain consistent on this, Brian Grant. I think it was pretty obvious that there were a couple of players that were offside there, but on the previous set of 6 when North Queensland were attacking, there was one Melbourne centre that had to be at least 7 or 8 metres offside.
So Melbourne 22 metres out from the line. Danny Williams being driven back by some pretty willing North Queensland defence from Pensini and Walters. Rorty. Again another tough tackle, but again a penalty.
You're out. You went too early. Yeah, of course it is. Steve, Andrew is 2 minutes. Yeah, right. I caught him earlier in the night as well. Yeah, as soon as it hits the ground, so long as you're 10 metres to start. Yep.
So Andrew Duneman not happy about being penalised.
Yeah, once it's on the ground, you've got to be there to start with, eh? Mark there, fellas, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a new rule this year that's been brought in. The defending side are allowed to move when the ball hits the ground. In previous years, it had to clear the ruck. It's now as soon as the ball hits the ground, but Brian Grant's saying they have to be back 10 metres to start with.
Well, there will be some people, of course, that will argue that he actually took no part in the tackle, therefore that maybe shouldn't have been penalised. But the rules are there to enforce that the players do have to be back. Okay, by the other side of the fence, of course, you can probably use those players as a weapon to try and defer attacking raids to one side of the field by simply standing with players offside.
So the second shot at goal for the night for Craig Smith, unsuccessful with his first attempt, but this is certainly much easier. The wind just dies off as he comes in to kick this goal, and he steers it through So the first points go the way of the Melbourne Storm. It's the Storm 2 and North Queensland 0 here at Malanda Stadium in Townsville.
BWB 972 ABN 942 ABN and 288 BZ0.
So Dale Shearer to restart with Melbourne leading by 2 points to 0 over North Queensland. Good take by Craig Smith, who was successful with that last shot at goal and then runs into the tackle of Josh Hannay. Chris Tassel coming in from the wing to help Hannay in the tackle. Just outside their own 20. Wayne Evans being caught by Glenn Murphy and helped by Mark Shipway. Danny Williams saw a half gap. Then it was closed at the last moment by Jason Deeth. The kick being put down for Dale Shearer. Came off the boot of Brett Kamali. The chase was good by Melbourne, led by Tony Martin, along with Russell Bowden, one of the former London Broncos in the side, and going in to make another tackle, Tony Martin. Also comes from this part of the world, hails from the Rockhampton area in central Queensland. On their own 20.
Well, the crowd not very happy. There was again 3 or 4 players standing well in front of Brian Grant.
And again they did it. Now, none of those, in fact, the whole Melbourne line, none of them were back behind Brian Grant. So he certainly has to be consistent. Nandruku seeing a break up the blind side, then is able to shoot it away to Ray Mercy. Had Nandruku going back around him, looked for support on the inside. Nandruku had gone back to the outside. It was on the last tackle, the changeover, and the Storm get possession 32 from their own line.
Well, Peter Mulholland, I think that the North Queensland players may have seen something there. They've been struggling to find a way through some pretty tight and disciplined Melbourne defence. Maybe a better idea to try and spread the ball wide late in the tackle count.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Wally. The other thing too, with that line being up in their faces is quick. Perhaps a little kick in. Both Doonerman and Ferris have got a good little short kicking game, just to put some second thoughts into the Melbourne defensive line. But that's an old ploy of Canterbury's. Chris Anderson's just brought it with him, hasn't he? Just up in their faces.
On the North Queensland 40, to Scott Hill. Step back inside, Doonerman, got towards open spaces, couldn't get a runner just coming off his shoulder to get the pass away. Now in the arms of Tawira Nikau and back to Marquette. Marquette gets it up to the 20. The Storm starting to put their attacking movements together. Kamali away to Hill, misses out Martin, misses out Bai, throws it to the touch judge. Over the line it goes. So a chance gone begging for the Melbourne Storm. Their first real attacking raid by Melbourne. The first time they've looked like starting to string some passes together. It's that last one, of course. They just missed out everybody and went into touch. 20 out from the North Queensland line.
Paul's coming out here. Paul, see if you can find another strip too, son.
Paul Marquette just going back onto the field a few moments ago. I'll tell you what, he's going to pick himself up a new nickname of Zipperhead tonight, I think.
Wally, that's a hell of a cut too. I think they've put about 10 in it. If you have a look at it, nice and tight.
It was Paul Marquette, of course, who early was involved in that head clash with Kyle Warren for North Queensland.
Well, you get the feeling that the side that settles down and gets a couple of consecutive sets of 6 is going to get on top here, but neither side's treasuring possession much.
Steve Walters, the North Queensland captain tonight, having a break at the moment. It's their 12 out from their own line. Just pushed back to the 10-metre mark, Andrew Doonerman. This is where the Storm would like to force an error as Jason Deeth. Good scamper by Deeth. 15 metres, they're the hard metres. Now from Doonerman. Doonerman just pushing it along the line to pick up Mark Shipway, standing out wide, even though he's playing in the second row, but normally is one of the outside backs for North Queensland. Oh, an awful pass from Noah Mandriku. I don't know what he was doing there. That was a real misunderstanding by North Queensland. They're still in trouble as it comes back to Ray Mercy and put the ground on the last, and the changeover only 11 metres out from the line. A horrible mistake by North Queensland. Now back to Tony Martin. Melbourne should be able to make them pay for this because the North Queensland defence hasn't regrouped, not expecting to be having to defend only 10 out from their own line. Daniel Frame, his first run-on appearance tonight for the Melbourne Storm, wearing the 24. Now to Scott Hill, inside to Robbie Ross. He puts it to ground. That is a real let-off as far as the Cowboys are concerned. And Scott Prince coming away for North Queensland, and now they draw a penalty. That'll make the crowd up here happy. They needed it. They were under a lot of pressure.
They've got to try and settle down this set of 6. Very important for them not to try anything too flash traps. Just work the ball continuously across the field. Try and pick up 30 or 40 metres and post a good kick and chase game.
Murphy runs into the tackle of Daniel Frame and was hurt in that tackle. The two in it were Danny Williams in the 17 and Frame in the 24. Pretty tough customer too, Glenn Murphy.
I don't think he could. Well, looked like he was doing a bit of dusting off the top. It didn't really look like he made that much contact, but I'm sure it was Danny Williams, 17, that threw that swinging arm. Didn't appear, maybe my judgment, John, I didn't think that it made heavy contact, but there certainly was a swinging arm.
Tim Sheens, the North Queensland coach, a milestone for Tim Sheens tonight. This is his 350th first grade coaching job. In fact, pretty select list that's in front of him. There are only 4 coaches who've coached more. Ronnie Willie leading that list. He's the only one above 400. And just behind him, Jack Gibson, Bob Fulton and Warren Ryan. And Tim Sheens running 5th, but up to 350 tonight. Congratulations, Tim Sheens. That's a magnificent effort. That's been a great coaching career. No doubt plenty more in front of him. Just on their own side of halfway. Now to Lomax. Again put to ground by Daniel Frame. Frame, as we said, playing his first game for the Storm. He's played all of this season for the Norths club in Brisbane, the Norths Devils, who are the feeder club for the Melbourne Storm, but called into their side tonight. They lost Rodney Howe, and then Robbie Kearns not able to back up from State of Origin duty. Craig Smith on his own 10-metre mark. The rain has stopped. Say the wind seems to have died down somewhat too, Peter Mulholland.
It has, John. Yeah, it's been on 4 seasons in 1.5 hour here. It's quite amazing, but yeah, there's nothing at all there. It just doesn't seem any urgency in this North Queensland side. I mean, they're playing really tonight. It could be a watershed match for them. You know, they've still got to stay in contact with this pen.
Certainly have. Evans making a half break, almost up to the halfway mark, in fact. Now the kick. Brett Kamali driving it down to Shearer. Brings it outside his own 20, confronted by Martin, and Kamali chasing his kick through. Nandruku elects to go from dummy half. Kamali makes another tackle. Duneman switching his pass back inside, but well read by the Storm defence. They could see that coming, and Pensini ran into trouble the moment he got the ball. Duneman at first receiver, runs it to the line and switches it to Dale Shearer, putting into open spaces. He's got support all around him, then threw a pass which went to ground. Duneman backed up, but the penalty will go the way of North Queensland. Now, is a player going to go to the sin bin for that?
He was interfered with.
He's called it.
What are you doing, Andrew?
Penalty the way of North Queensland. They'll have a shot at goal. Gee, I think they're lucky, Melbourne, not to have a player in the bin for a professional foul.
Very good work. Dale Shearer, the man on the inside, running into holes, offering great support. Well, just as well for big John Lomax. I don't think he was envying the prospect of running 35 metres to try and touch down.
You're not saying he took a dive, are you?
No, I'm not, but I think that I've got to give the bloke a rap. We had Dale Shearer racing away, Doonerman trotting away, and the next form of support that came their way, unfortunately for the Cowboys, was Lomax. Very disappointing that a couple of their quicker men weren't there.
Lomax is due, though. He does that very well, backs up. He's probably quicker than he certainly looks, John Lomax. Here's Josh Hannay. The penalty goal attempt. From in front, the crowd like it, the touch judges like it, and that evens it up. North Queensland 2 and Melbourne 2 here in Townsville.
Well, Marquette's just trying his third appearance now. They look like they've put some more strips across that eye, but they're going to need a lot of band-aids on that.
Morley with the restart for the Melbourne Storm. 2-2 it is. Shearer dummying and then running into trouble. Dale Shearer ran into a tough tackle from Williams and Rorty. Prince going across field looking for a runner. Let's have a look at the tackle on Dale Shearer. As a penalty goes to North Queensland.
That's the part that really confuses me. I mean, that appeared as high as anything else.
17.
Yeah, the touch judge coming in now. It'll be Danny Williams who's called out the 17. Has to be careful, Danny Williams. He's been to the judiciary already this year and does not have a good record.
Because he was the one that threw that big swinging arm just a few moments ago.
Touch judge in on the tackle there earlier, right? All right.
Okay, but I'm not sure of the point of contact. I'm pretty sure it was up high.
Right.
Okay, but I think you want to come off the shoulder and sit up under the chin.
Okay, fair enough. Wear the caution, and mate, we'll put it on report. If there's anything in it, we'll have a look at it during the week.
What do you say that was, Wally? It's come up underneath the chin.
Underneath the chin.
Yeah.
The touch judge Paul Field making that report. Yeah, Danny Williams. I'll put it on report and have a look at it. As we said, a player who has fronted the judiciary already this year for a high tackle. He doesn't have the best of Williams, best of records. He certainly has to be careful with his tackling style, Danny Williams. 2-2 it is. Lomax getting it to 38 up. Quick play the ball wanted. Now away to Doonerman. Doonerman fires his pass to Nandruku, who turns it back inside to Cunningham. Doonerman again, going to the line and then runs in to the tackle of Ben Rorty.
10 metres.
Inside the 10, Melbourne.
No, 16. Out too early. What are you doing, son?
Russell Bowden, the player penalised to have come up too quickly. They don't take the 2. It was a sitting 2 points. They better make sure they get something on the end of this North Queensland, or Tim Sheens won't be happy at all. It was a gift 2 points. Prince just slipping a little bit. Maybe that field getting somewhat greasy by the rain that has fallen. Lomax, 11 metres from the line. The tackle made by Marquette. Doonerman has Nandruku with him, switches it inside to Mercy, taken in a ball and all tackle by Kamali. Shearer, back it goes to Mercy. Mercy going for the line, looking for try number 11. Held up.
Over the line.
Held up over the line.
They're loose.
It'll be a scrum with a North Queensland feed.
They reacted very well, Dale Shearer. Sloppy play the ball, or pick up. Decided he'd go back. The only point that they probably wouldn't think that he was heading. Strong defence though, Robbie Ross, and got great assistance from Nicow, who came from the blue to give him as much support as he possibly could. 4 players involved in the tackle to deny the Cowboys the try.
Scott Prince, Marcus Bai also into that tackle, trying to get underneath Ray Mercy to make sure he couldn't get the ball down. Now to Jason Deeth. Deeth 2 metres from the line. Doonerman has Lomax on his left. He goes back to the right, steps, almost got through, had Dale Shearer flying up on the inside, couldn't get it to him. Now to Lomax once more. Slips away from Lazarus. Came back through Walters. Away to Deeth. Wide it goes to Mercy. And there is try number 11. Denied just seconds before. No mistake about it the second time round. Ray Mercy, the try-scoring machine of the Cowboys, goes in the corner. And North Queensland lead by 6-2.
Well, valued support. They've looked after it. The extra set of 6, just too much for the Melbourne defence to deny. A little bit unusual. They decided to spread the ball. Tell you what, he did very well with about a metre to work with. Not often you see Marcus Bai beaten in a battle of strength.
John Lomax did very well here too to keep this ball alive, but as Wally said, to get consecutive sets of 6, and I mean, they've done very well. Marcus Bai probably shouldn't have gone as low as he did in that tackle, but like you said, Wally did a great job of staying in. He's just waltzed on this sideline.
I suppose Steve Walters would be happy. He decided against taking that shot at penalty goal in front. But things worked out well. They were held up in goal, so they got another set of 6 from the scrum, and they've scored on the end of it.
Well, maybe the coach had a little bit to do with that, because when that penalty was given, everyone turned around and they looked at the trainer. The trainer, I think, was the one that he might have got the signal wrong.
It's the right decision, as it turned out. Here's Josh Hannay, difficult attempted conversion from near touch. Across the face of goal by Josh Hannay.
Cowboys 6, Storm 2.
What a good talent he is, Josh Hannay. Only just, I think, just turning 18 years of age now. Already with quite a bit of experience now for the Cowboys. A great future in front of him. In fact, Wally Lewis, I suppose, when you look back not only at the results this year of the State of Origin series, which Queensland won 2-1, I suppose the interesting thing was that last night in Sydney, the Queensland resident side beat the New South Wales residents, and the Queensland team have won the Under-17 Interstate Series, and last night the Under-19 Interstate match. So there's a lot of very good young talent in Queensland, and a lot of it comes from this part of the world in North Queensland. Quite a few of the members of the 17s and 19s were in the Queensland side from this part of the world. John Lomax making the bust and then losing it, picked up by Robbie Ross. Got it back to Aaron Moole. He'll be hoping for a win tonight to celebrate, because it's his 21st birthday today, Aaron Moole. Came to Melbourne via the Southeast Queensland Crushers. Marcus Bai. 25 metres out from the North Queensland line. Kamali. Dummies on the inside to Marquette. Nickau. Hasn't had much to do so far in attack. Nickau back to Ross, and Ross got it away to Bowden. Dragged to ground, 18 out. To the short side, Scott Hill using the kick. Almost caught Dale Shearer wrong-footed, but he was able to change direction quickly and pick that ball up. Just looks as though he may have copped an accidental knee in the back as he fell. Just wasting a bit of time too.
Yeah, it's a good idea for Rowdy at the moment. I tell you what, there must have been a mozzie landed on him there. There wasn't too much contact, but good work from Rowdy. He knows that it's a period of the game where his team need a little bit of time just to regroup. They've got just over 6 minutes remaining in this first half. Pretty important for them to structure this good set of 6 coming up and get that kick and chase game once again in line.
Dale Shearer, having been spoken to by Brian Hyder, and no doubt said to Brian, I did well, didn't I? Looked that well. So from the restart, on their own 10, the Cowboys, leading by 6-2 over the Storm. Shearer. Recovered quickly. The bang. Miracle recovery. John Lomax. What a great character he's been, Dale Shearer. A marvellous player. Knows every trick in the book. The kick down to Robbie Ross. Nandruku came up on the first line. Didn't hold him effectively, then the pass goes to Bai. Got his pass back inside to Ross, who backed up well. Put to ground by Shipway on halfway. Kamali. Then to Moole. Shed the first tackle. That was the attempted tackle of Pincini. Then got it out for the 20 before he was eventually dragged to ground. Good run, Aaron Moole. Now to Hill. Takes it to the line. Through the pass. Did that come off a North Queensland hand? Picked up by the Cowboys. No, the referee didn't signal there was a North Queensland hand in it. But it may have just got a touch from a North Queensland hand, but not according to Brian Grant. Lazarus, good run by Lazarus. No one in support though. He only needed one runner, Glenn Lazarus. He's only 3 out from the line. Hill sends his pass on to Russell Bowden. And Bowden, a welcome home for Russell Bowden. He loves scoring tries and he loves scoring one here because this is his part of the world. He's a North Queensland boy at home tonight with the Melbourne Storm, and Bowden scores under the post to make it 6-all.
Disappointment. It was all caused. The ball that went into the hands of Glenn Lazarus went straight through. Pretty poor attempted tackle from Steve Walters. No support, probably worked in the favour. But gee, that's a pretty ordinary defence as well from North Queensland. I think you can see a couple of them there looking at each other. Walters again and Andrew Durneman. Just in a little bit of confusion. I think they raced up in a little bit of desperation and panic more than anything.
He ran a good line though too, didn't he? I think he saw Durneman coming up and readjusted his run, but doesn't like scoring a try, does he?
He loves it. I tell you what, he scored a lot of tries this year for Melbourne, Russell Bowden. This is the first time he's actually been in the starting lineup, but he loves scoring them and does score plenty. So Craig Smith, a very easy conversion attempt from in front to put the Storm back into the lead, which he does. With just a couple of minutes remaining until the half-time break. Melbourne back in front of North Queensland by 8 points to 6.
Well, the ball being shifted pretty close to the ruck. It was held up fairly well by Scott Hill. I've got to say that I was a bit surprised. That's probably one of the first passes that Scotty's held up and put into a positive position so far. He's thrown a couple of ordinary ones, which is untradesmanlike for him, despite his youth. There's a mile of experience on board. He's a real quality player of the future.
Well, just without stating the obvious, and I'm going to, but their platform's not there tonight, is it, with Howe and Kearns on the follow-up. You notice the difference in Melbourne when Lazarus was out there in that last set of 6. He's just come back onto the park and they're asserting some authority again.
Another shirt you can get out to him.
Now,
As soon as you can.
Yeah, Brian Grant just had a talk to the trainers, and it's really about, well, I think it was Paul Marquette.
Mate, we've still got a problem with this blood, son.
Yeah, that's
trying to get a result. Right, we'll go.
Marquette keeps going. He looked like an Egyptian mummy at the end of the night.
Brian Grant asking, there's so much blood on the jersey of Paul Marquette. Can the Melbourne trainers get him another strip?
I think he might need a transfusion the way it's going out there, mate.
I'll be working feverishly on Paul Marquette at the half-time break, no doubt, as the Storm, 35 out from their own line. Marcus Bai looking to unload, wisely held on to that ball and went to ground to take the tackle. Now Nick out. Hit the ground by his fellow Kiwi, John Lomax. Kamali. The kick which is going to sail well over the touchline. Mistake by Kamali. Just gets a little pat from Marcus Bai to say, don't worry about it. Look at that cut. Here's the change of strip for Paul Marquette. That's a vicious looking cut that he's got underneath the right eye.
Referee, what we've done. Yep, fold it.
So Marquette now be wearing the number 19 shirt.
Stand up, mate, stand
That other one soaked in blood. As we come towards the half-time break, with the Storm in front by 8-6. Duneman on the Melbourne 40. To Cunningham. Taken to ground in the tackle of Bowden. Lomax runs into the tackle of Lazarus. Does well to pop the pass though. Back to Walters. Swings it across field to Jason Ferris. Ferris sneaking inside the 20. To Doonerman. Then to Nandruku, confronted by Tony Martin. Makes a good tackle one-on-one. Last coming up for North Queensland. Away to Doonerman. Puts it in the air. Tassel flying through for it. Well taken though by Kamali. Didn't take his eyes off the ball, Scott Kamali. And now Marcus Bai turning defence into attack and looking to get the pass around the corner. He's a dangerous runner in broken play, Marcus Bai, and will attack you from pretty well anywhere on the ground. Lost ball by Scott Hill. So inside the last minute of the first half. Last chance for North Queensland in this half, and immediately they go wide through Ferris. Another wide pass out to Mercy, taken though by Marcus Bai. 25 from the line, and Nandruku, a dummy half, runs it a couple of paces, gives it back then to Ferris. Doonerman uses the crossfield kick. Smith waiting for it, Tassel coming through after it, couldn't get it. He's a great taker of the high ball, Chris Tassel. And that time he wasn't able to get hold of it. Goes touch in goal as the hooter sounds for half-time.
Oh, geez, it's got straight through his hands. I think what might have taken his eyes off it a little bit, he believed that, that Craig Smith appeared to be a certainty of catching the ball. It went straight past him. May have been a chance for a four-pointer. Lost right on the stroke of half-time.
And the breeze, which was quite blustery in the first half when the rain was falling, has almost died off completely as Andrew Doonerman starts the first half with a short kick-off. Didn't pay off, though, for North Queensland. Almost got away with it. Josh Hannay got the ball back, but knocked on.
First, no advantage, Melbourne. Scrum? Yeah, bloody hell. In here. Yeah,
John Lomax just asking the referee, did he see it?
Well, that's gone back into his own hands.
Hey, put in, son.
Unless he's saying that he's propelled the ball forward, and then it's come off
that was
his foot.
his call. That was his first, the initial reaction of the ball was forward.
I don't know, John, when you knock the ball forward, even if you're dropping the football, you can kick it back into your own hands. It's regarded as you've got control of possession.
So Melbourne get their first possession of the second half. As they do so, let's go sideline. The chief executive of the Melbourne Storm, Chris Johns. Johnsy, what did Chris Anderson have to say at the break?
He said, listen, this is going to be a very tough half of football with North Queensland having this huge home ground advantage here. We're going to have to do everything right in this second half. Very disappointed in the spate of penalties we conceded that gave the Cowboys that added edge to get on a roll and get those points on the board. So we've got to start doing things right, cut the mistakes down, and especially the penalties.
Brains, did the players talk much about the condition? The ball was it a greasy problem for them?
Not really. I don't think you could blame the ball. The rain is starting to come down a bit now, and it is a little bit slippery. But I think we just haven't treated that ball with enough respect, and we're definitely going out here in this second half to make sure we do it, because if we don't, they're going to be a very tough side to beat here at home.
Mate, one thing that stood out, I thought, in the last 10 minutes of that first half, Lazarus really seemed like he took control. Grease and oil change and got going again.
Chris Anderson made mention at half-time. He had a very hard game the night before at State of Origin, and he has been leading by example. It's up to the rest of our forwards to really get behind him and do everything that he's doing.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
There he is, Chris Johns, the chief executive of the Melbourne Storm. So North Queensland in possession, a wide pass going from Ferris to Doonerman. Then the kick on the end of that from Doonerman, but it's gone touch on the fall. So it comes back to where he kicked the ball from, and that was 5 metres on his own side of halfway for the changeover. So here's a real break as far as Melbourne is concerned. Great chance to attack as Lazarus plays the ball. On the North Queensland 40. Ben Rawty. Lazarus once more going forward. Getting to the 25. Now to Nikau. Takes them on himself to Nikau. Almost getting through the line. Shipway pulling him to ground. To Scott Hill. Then away to Kamali. Gives it back inside to Rawty. Ben Rawty looking for a break and almost getting through. Good tackle by Jason Ferris. One that he had to make. Now to Swain, then away to Kamali, uses the little kick into the in goal. North Queensland are able to wrap it up. It'll be a goal line dropout. As they take the goal line dropout, North Queensland, let's go to the sideline. The assistant coach to Tim Sheens, Murray Hurst for the Cowboys. Murray, what were Tim's instructions to decide at the break?
Well, we had a lot of trouble in the first half. Our set completion wasn't too bad. We had our trouble getting our kick away again, as we did last week in the first half. And you know, nothing's changed this half thus far, but that's a big part of what we talked about, plus the fact that the people in the opposition that we really target as ball players, we've been letting stand up. So you know, that's brought us undone a little bit.
But did he find that there was much of a problem in the marker defence? It just seems that if Melbourne are making a little bit of yardage up the middle, it comes from the short, sharp bursts, particularly from players like Marcus Bryant.
Yeah, absolutely, Wally. It's you know, that was something talked about all week. He's very, very good at it, and he's rated very high in the hit-ups in that area. You know, you only have to relax on Lazarus once or twice, and you're in trouble. And you know, that emanated in a try at the end of that when he did that. So you know, those two things plus the ball players are giving us big trouble.
Thanks, Murray. Leave you there as Robbie Ross gets to 1 metre out from the line. As the Storm attack, Swain puts the ball into the in goal. Fight for possession. Knocked over the dead ball line, though, by the North Queensland Cowboys. Doonerman getting back there with Shearer, and once more it will be a goal line dropout. Thanks to Murray Hurst, the assistant coach to Tim Sheens for the Cowboys. But real pressure now for North Queensland, because this is the third set of 6 they've got coming up at them, just out from their own line. The last goal line dropout wasn't a deep one. It only went about 35 metres. This one from Doonerman, again, only goes the same, 35 metres, as it's given back to Craig Smith. So on the first tackle, in fact, he brushed the first tackle, gets to almost the 20 on tackle number 1. Given away by Marquette, back to Hill, then to Richard Swain. Trying to get his way through the centre of the ruck, can't do so. To Kamali, misses out Nickau. On the bounce, hoping to pick up Russell Bowden. It went to Martin, wasn't knocked on. Play on, says the referee. Off Lazarus, then away to Marcus By. Gets to 12 from the line, got it back to Lazarus, over the top to Nickau. Nickau looking for a run of it, dropped the ball.
He's put him onside. Knock on. That man's put him onside, though. Hey? No, mate, no, knock on.
Well, some desperation being shown in North Queensland. Plenty of their players really starting to have a go in tight situations. There was the one that was called, but I think I've got to agree with the Melbourne players there. It appeared as though the ball was knocked down rather by John Lomax in a pass that simply went astray from Tawira Nickau.
So the Cowboys survive that attacking raid as it comes to Hannay after the scrum win, and Josh Hannay bringing it out to his own 40. Doonerman able to switch the pass back on the inside, played by Pensini. Now to Jason Deeth. Gives it back to Doonerman, then away to Lomax. Lomax held on to by Ross. To Owen Cunningham. Cunningham runs it at Tawira Nickau, held on to on the 30. Kick being put high by Doonerman, up towards the wing of Marcus By. Takes it by, wasn't really put under pressure by the North Queensland chasers. Still struggling to get free. 12 out from the Storm's line, and then is able to unload the ball. She's a strong player. I said it in the first half, Wally. He's just about an impossible player to put down unless you've got about 4 or 5 defenders on him.
And have a look at that. Just one tackle later, he's putting his hand up after tucking the jersey in to take a very good run away and put the defence on the back foot.
Now to Lazarus. Runs it straight at Deeth. Held on to with the aid of Lomax. Once more to Nickau. Tackle made on him by Mark Shipway. Melbourne kicked, driving Dale Shearer back almost to his own line. Martin leading the chase. Kamali comes in to help him. Shearer put over, 10 up from the Cowboys line. Tassel looking for a half break up the middle. Swain was there to stop it. Shipway plays it. On his own 30. Now to Deeth. Deeth slipped under a high tackle from Robbie Ross. Got a caution on the run from referee Brian Grant, who plays the advantage. Back it comes to Steve Walters. Now to Shearer. On the last, Dale Shearer uses the kick. Again out towards Marcus Bai. What about that for the take? Just come here.
Well,
like swatting flies.
That's
Get
confidence.
Here.
It's a pleasure to watch this bloke play football at the moment.
As casual as you come. He's turned into a great crowd favourite in Melbourne with the Storm fans in Melbourne, and no wonder. Terrific player. Good pass given away by Kamali. And the penalty.
Roll out.
Not releasing Robbie Ross, the tackle player, immediately.
Mark here.
So the penalty goes to Melbourne, just a couple of metres inside North Queensland's half. Being held down by Shearer and Ferris. It's been held down for too long, so the chance again for Melbourne to attack, and Lazarus will take the first hit up. Danny Williams. Now to Rawdy. Again taken front on by Jason Ferris. Kamali switching it back on the inside and getting to only 8 metres out from the line. Ball played back by Ross and then away once more to Kamali, who takes it to the line. Shearer gets him, got it back to Rawdy. Ben Rawdy only 5 out from the North Queensland line. Walters makes a desperate tackle on him. To Kamali once more, on the bars to Devout, and then away to Hill. Hill fires it to Craig Smith. Tassel takes him, puts him to ground on the last, the changeover, and North Queensland will play it 5 from their own line.
Stacks on the mill. But a little bit of fortune coming back, but I can probably say that there's a lot of discontent from the North Queensland boys about 2 incidents that happened in the last couple of minutes. That one there, he came up, the forearm went straight under the chin, almost to the neck. It happened twice in 5 tackles, and it was the same player involved. They were screaming at the referee about the use of the elbow. He was claiming that it wasn't used.
Ferris looking for a runner on his outside. Tackled 22 from the North Queensland line. Dale Shearer across field to Murphy, then quick hands on to Doonerman and wide to Nandruku and wider again to Mercy. Mercy trying to sprint away from them, being chased by the defence. Marquette trying to get to him. He'll be dragged to ground, only 5 metres out from the line. Quick play the ball by North Queensland, away to Nandruku once more. Runs it towards the line, driven back by Danny Williams in a desperate tackle. Steve Walters across field, hoping to pick up Ray Mercy. It went backwards. No, the referee is now going to stop play.
Wait on.
Well, that's going to be 6
and
to
consult
go.
with the touch judge.
Righto, over there, change on. Wait up, relax.
Well, it'll be interesting to see this one on replay. It really did look like the Melbourne player played at the football with his foot.
Knock on, so we have a changeover.
There it is coming. Watch this one here. Well, look at that. If he hasn't knocked that ball forward, I'm not here. And there was certainly no hint of even Steve Walters knocking the ball on a dummy half. That's a crazy ruling.
The upshot of it is that Brian Grant ruled a changeover and Melbourne get the ball 12 from their own line.
Probably got to go back and pay credit to a magnificent cover defending tackle as well. Wonderful cover defending tackle. I think it was Robbie Ross that got right across in the corner to stop a certain try.
On their own 40, Melbourne. Back to Craig Smith. Hannay making the tackle on him. Now the kick from Scott Hill. Shearer just stays in the field of play. 8 out from his own line. Gives a pass. A nightmare pass, which Chris Tassel luckily was probably expecting and was able to bring in. And immediately they go wide once more to Nandruku. Martin comes in to tackle him, but he does well to get it back to Shipway, and then wide again to Mercy. He got around Marcus Bai. Bai trying to catch him, coming from behind, just slowed him down enough for the covering tackle to be made.
Well, isn't that a battle royal? And that win.
To Nandruku once more. Murphy getting into open space, ridden to ground in a tough tackle by Danny Williams. 10 out from the Cowboys line. Now to Nandruku once more. Nandruku with the wide pass. Out to Hannay. Hannay trying to slip away from Aaron Moole. They get him taken towards the touchline and push him into touch.
Well, that was pretty poor play from North Queensland on that occasion. Noah Nandruku coming up with a wide pass. I thought the better option would have been Peter Mulholland to simply go through the set of hands. Here's the pass that opened it up. Clever offload going down the left wing. I thought for sure it was going to be a try to Mercy as he dashed away. Look at the competition going on between those three there.
Tell you what, Robbie Ross has done well again, hasn't he, to stay in line with Mercy on that one. But you're right, Wally, I thought it should have just gone through hands and catch and pass.
Cowboys just having that scrum. 10 out from the Melbourne line. Melbourne, though, winning possession on their own 30. The Storm leading by 8 points to 6. 14 minutes into the second half here in Townsville. No points scored so far in the second half. The kick once more by Scott Hill. Down to Scott Prince, but that'll go touch in goal. So out to the 20 it'll come for the tap restart by North Queensland.
Both teams here have probably got to start to think about this kicking game, particularly when they're trying to clear the ball from around about their 40-metre mark. On that occasion, and just previously with North Queensland, they've kicked the ball about a metre the other side of the 40-metre line. You've got to remember, of course, if you put a clearing kick in and it goes into touch between the try line and the 20-metre line, you will get possession from the scrum feed. Both times they've only missed it by a metre, and the ball has just gone into touch and goal on both occasions.
Right on halfway. Andrew Doonerman jinking, stepping off the right foot, going back to the left-hand side once more to Nandruku. That's the side they'd like to attack on. Playing it on the 5th tackle. Dale Shearer slipped around Kamali, went another couple of paces before he puts up a high kick. And well taken by Robbie Ross. Under pressure from the North Queensland chase from Jason Death. He didn't take his eye off the ball, took it in well. Smith getting it out to his own 20.
Come on, side, Ross.
Wayne Evans standing in the tackle, unloading back to Swain. Kamali going to the line, then just giving his short pass away on number 5. Running it on the last, using the little chip over the top of the line. Ball stolen though of Jason Ferris.
I said no, I was talking to my touch judges about there. There was no roll away.
Well, it was a one-on-one. The referee obviously believing that he's asked the player in possession to play the ball. Pretty neat effort, but it is almost a voluntary tackle.
Well, it is. It's got to be a voluntary tackle. No one had put a hand on him. And I reckon he's quite entitled, Brett Kamali, to do exactly what he did.
I think the only safety thing there for the referees in that situation, the player could claim that he may have been injured, unable to get back to his feet.
Interesting ruling, though, which has gone North Queensland's way this time as Jason Death scampers inside Melbourne's territory by a couple of metres. Ferris getting his pass to Doonerman, switched inside to Nandruku. Lost the ball in the tackle of Swain. Dived on by the Melbourne Storm. Marcus Bai. In centre field, few metres inside his own territory. Now to Evans, once more he's able to unload his pass. Frame. Gets over the halfway mark. Evans once more. This time taken to ground by Murphy. Kamali again takes it to the line. Almost taken by Mark Shipway. Wasn't able to hold on to it. So Melbourne will work an important scrum as we come towards the three-quarter way mark of the match. And this scrum, a very good attacking position, 32 metres out from the North Queensland line in centre field. They have the option to attack to either side.
There's some claret flowing tonight down here, isn't it? It's going everywhere.
Jason Deeth this time going to the blood bin for North Queensland. Steve Walters and Glenn Lazarus come back on.
John, a very interesting thing, Murray Hurst was saying that, you know, Tim Sheens wasn't satisfied with shutting down the offloads from the Melbourne players, and well, you probably agree that that's going to take up some gas from the North Queensland side. There's still a lot of offloads that Melbourne are getting away and basically doubling up the tackle count.
Yeah, they've got to make sure their markers, whilst they only haven't got to work to chase dummy halves, when the ball goes one pass wide, they've got to remember they're responsible for the inside of that ruck as well. It's tough to talk yourself into doing it on occasions, but it is necessary.
Hill put to ground on number 1. Williams. 25 out from the North Queensland line. Now to Ben Rorty. Turns in the tackle, looking for a runner coming off him. No one there. Kamali once more, almost getting through the gap, back to Swain. In the hands of Kamali again. Then to Hill. Inside to Aaron Moore. Owen Cunningham making the tackle though. 5 gone. Here comes the last then. 12 from the line. Kamali goes to the air, putting it too deep. Ray Mercy gets up to get it. Out to the 20. Taken on the full in the in goal. North Queensland to restart at the 20. Melbourne lead by 8-6. That was the half-time score.
A good contest between these two coming up. Covered it very well. We've got to question whether the ball should have been put up a little bit higher or closer towards the goalpost, where maybe 3 or 4 of the Melbourne players could have been able to put pressure on the man that was underneath the football.
Lomax heading it back towards centre field. Almost to halfway is where he plays the ball. They work it out onto the short right-hand side. Steve Walters dumbing and running himself. Getting 10 inside Melbourne's half. Again, they go down the short side. Jason Ferris. Ferris coming back infield. He's able to unload his pass to Prince. Had Tassel on the outside of him. Couldn't get the pass to him. Tassel was the dummy half. Here's the last coming up. Ferris using the kick again out towards Marcus Bai. Takes it on the full. Slipped around Nandruku. Then he does well, Marcus Bai, to again unload his pass. He's just such a cool customer. And again gets involved. As is normally the case, takes at least one of the hit-ups when they need to inside their own 20. Lazarus runs straight at Dale Fritz. Fritz drags him to ground. Kamali got inside Owen Cunningham, gets up to almost halfway. Shearer making the tackle on Brett Kamali. Then back to Scott Hill for the kick. Loses the ball, knocked on. Uncharacteristic mistake by Scott Hill. Normally has such a safe pair of hands, the Melbourne 5'8", that was on the last. It's a changeover.
Well, while the North Queensland boys are probably celebrating getting possession so close to the line with an attacking raid, they will have to fix up their defensive problems. That one pass wide of the ruck, every time they turn it back inside Melbourne there, it creates huge problems for the North Queenslanders.
Ferris getting his pass to Lomax. Stepping back in field, Swain and Lazarus make the tackle on the 20. Now to Steve Walters. Walters out of dummy half. and is able to unload his pass. Picked up on the bounce by Ferris and wide again to Lomax, then on to Cunningham. Cunningham dragged to ground in a desperation tackle. Plays the ball back to Scott Prince. Prince puts the ball on the toe, but it was a fairly innocuous little kick by Scott Prince and easily cleaned up this time by Scott here.
Yeah, probably wasted 2 tackles on the count as well. No pressure whatsoever. Pretty poor play. I think that's about time that one of the North Queensland guys decided he's going to start speaking up and try and lead from the front.
John Carlaw in the 14 for Melbourne, who's just come off the interchange bench. His first run of the night, John Carlaw. Last tackle for Melbourne. Kamali kicks. Well taken by Ray Mercy. Starts to clap on the speed as the Melbourne line comes down to meet him, and he's put the ground on the North Queensland 30 by Williams. Prince runs from dummy half. Gets isolated though, Scott Prince. Thrown to ground by Evans. Hannay also runs by himself down the short side, reaches halfway. From Ferris, then away to Cunningham. Reverses play back to Murphy.
Play on!
Walters called to play on by the referee, was hoping for a penalty. Then to Doonerman. Doonerman caught by Swain, standing looking for a runner coming off him. No one there. Here's the last for North Queensland. From Shearer, back to Ferris. Ferris will go to the air. Chase is coming through after it. Chris Tassel going up for it. Melbourne will come down with the ball. Just out from their own line, Craig Smith played it. And again, Marcus Bai willing to come across from the right wing to do some of the hefty work. Chased by Shipway, Marcus Bai, and put to ground. This is Martin. Bumped away from Dale Shearer. Then a fight for possession. Shipway stripped me with the ball, one-on-one. Vital turnover. North Queensland getting the ball, 25 out from the Melbourne line. Melbourne lead by 8-6. Jason Deef, having had that head wound attended to, back into the fray. Now to Ferris. Ferris able to fire his pass to Hannay. Picked up and dumped by Smith. To Tassel at dummy half. Then away to Ferris. Runs it wide to Shearer. Again pushes it wide to Shipway. He couldn't take it. Ray Mercy does. Kicks. Martin goes back forward and dives on it. Followed through by Mercy, who makes the tackle.
Yeah, well, another wasted opportunity, I think. But, John, one point we've got to bring up again is we've seen a number of kicks go up from the Cowboys to no result. We mentioned before that the Melbourne boys have not conceded a try from a high ball or attacking kick this season. Still 100% record.
It's an incredible statistic that Melbourne have, but you can see why, the way that they're defending tonight.
I think, John, too, there's a willingness to help one another in that as well. The wingers are back helping the fullback and vice versa.
On the last they run it. Martin giving it away to Bai. Uses the kick, but Ray Mercy was there to pick it up. Kamali comes across in cover and puts him to ground. 8 metres back inside Melbourne's half. To Doonerman. To Shipway. Tried to sneak under the tackle and Nickau couldn't do so. Quick play the ball to Steve Walters. Runs from dummy half, got it back to Deef. Dived at by Paul Marquette, who knocked his legs from underneath him. Now to Doonerman again. Into the hands of Walters. Crossfield to Ferris. Ferris trying to link up with his outside winger, Chris Tassel. And a penalty.
What are you doing?
Stripping the ball against Melbourne. Now they're going to have a shot at the 2 points to try and even it up at 8 all.
Yeah, I probably think this was a preferred option for Melbourne at the moment. They've been in this area of the football field for quite some time. You can see Scotty Hill putting his left arm around there and knocking the ball away. Things were starting to look pretty constructive for North Queensland. I wonder whether they've just said, hey, let's give away 2 to save 6.
Running repairs out there for Paul Marquette. blood bank at the end of tonight. We can make a donation on that. He's given away plenty this evening. Here's Josh Hannay. His kick is successful. And that makes it 8 points all. North Queensland 8, Melbourne 8. 14 minutes left here at Malanda Stadium. Eight all it is. North Queensland after the restart bring it just outside their own 20. The experienced Dale Shearer runs it to the line. Swain makes the tackle on him. Walters tries to scamper from dummy half. The marker defence from Melbourne read it well. Lomax brings it down the short side with another tough run and a quick play the ball, but there was no dummy half. Now there is. It was Cunningham who had to sneak back there and quickly give his pass to Death. Walters uses the kick. Smith dropping back for it. So too Robbie Ross. Bad bounce for the Melbourne fullback. Gets back to his own 10-metre mark. Got around the first tackle, couldn't beat the second as he was dragged to ground by Hannay. Now to Craig Smith. Running it back into centre field, but runs into a tough tackle, knocked over by Tassel. By brings it out to his own 30. Up towards halfway come the Storm. Last tackle coming up for them. Kamali dragged to ground by Noah Nandruku, who picked the ball up quickly, then sent a pass. Duneman couldn't pick it up. Tony Martin was there to get it, and Melbourne get a reprieve.
Well, that's a monster of a mistake. Wouldn't that have set the tide?
Lost ball by Melbourne. Paul Marquette losing it. Quickly given wide to Dale Shearer. He's taken one-on-one by Carlaw. Prince from dummy half comes back down the short side. Chased by Hill. They'll push him into touch. Before he went over the touchline, threw the pass back inside, and Hill was able to take it.
Well, you think where the value of the Aussie dollar's gone soaring. I'll tell you what, the price of a football's not worth 2 bob at the moment. It's such a delicate part of the game with just over 10 minutes remaining. The football just hasn't been respected whatsoever. They've got to make sure they get themselves good field position, because we're going to see the one-point attempts start to come into play.
Here's a chance for Melbourne. Evans standing, he had support on the outside in Carlaw, but the penalty goes the way of Melbourne, so here's the chance for the Storm to get back in front.
Mate, he was 5 metres offside. Number 1, 5 metres.
Dale Shearer ruled to have been 5 metres offside by referee Brian Grant. And the chance now for Craig Smith to have the shot at goal. Let's see where he was. As he came into shot out wide, he was obviously a long way offside right from the word go, Dale Shearer. And the moment he came into play was ruled to have been offside and penalised.
Well, he was offside, John. There's no doubt about that. And I think he probably was about the same amount in front of the referee as there's been 30 other players out there tonight. Consistency just has not been there on fair rulings, I believe. There's been a couple of real tough ones go, but they've gone against both sides. We've got to admit that one.
Polly, they've got themselves to blame for this position, haven't they? I mean, not valuing possession, as you just said, twice with Nadruka and the young fella Prince.
Important kick this one for Craig Smith. On the 20, 25 in from touch, and he makes no mistake. Struck it sweetly, Craig Smith. And Melbourne are back in front by 10-8 with 9 minutes remaining. Melbourne 10, North Queensland 8. A thrilling finish coming up. After the restart, Melbourne back in possession. Wayne Evans, just outside his own 30. The Storm lead North Queensland by 10 points to 8. Nickar getting to his feet and playing it. Williams, quick play the ball. Did well to get it back to Swain, then to Kamali. Last coming up for Melbourne, Scott Hill runs it on the last. Now gets his kick down for Ray Mercy. Dives on it a few metres out from his own line. Bai makes the tackle. Well, their ball security over the last few minutes, North Queensland, hasn't been good. This is where their coach Tim Sheens would be insisting that they put together a good set of 6 with a good kick on the end. By the same token, Melbourne will be doing their best to force another error. Nandruku on his own 30. Now through Walters, able to give his pass wide on the outside to Kyle Warren. 5 tackles gone on the last to Duneman. His kick, trying to get it between Bai and Ross. The fullback Robbie Ross takes it, comes outside his own 20, then away to Marcus Bai. Into centre field comes Bai. Walters slowed him down. Not enough though for him to slip the pass away to Carlaw. Straight up the centre come the Melbourne Storm. Just a couple of settlers is what they require now. And that's exactly what they're going to get.
And they're doing it pretty easy up the middle too.
Kamali now elects to go wide to Tony Martin. Got away from Mercy, can't get away from Tassett. Back to Nickar. Good run by Nickar, came onto that strongly and the defence was fairly slow to meet him. Here's the last coming up for Melbourne. They're up on the North Queensland 20. They run it on the last. From Kamali, got it wide to frame. It went backwards, picked up by Carlaw. Carlaw in desperation gets his pass. Back it came to Danny Williams. He'll kick to Mercy. Takes it just out from his own line. Confronted by Martin, who makes the tackle on him. But again, North Queensland with a lot of work to do just on their own 20. Nandruku. Good hard run by Nandruku. Probably saying, well, if Marcus Bai is doing this job for Melbourne down their end, I've got to do the same, and that was a good run. Now, pass which comes up wide to Josh Hannay. Near halfway is where he was tackled. Now to Lomax. Lomax with a bumping run and then stands and unloads his pass. Across field to Walters. On the last, Steve Walters. Coming back to the short side. Slipped at first, but then still got his kick away. Putting it in behind Smith. Near his own try line, Craig Smith. Caught by the first chaser, and that was Jason Ferris. 10 points to 8. Melbourne lead North Queensland. Now to the last 5 minutes. Kamali. To Nickar. Put to ground by the North Queensland defensive Dale Fritz, who took him in a ball and all tackle. Last coming up for Melbourne. Kamali gets his kick away. Hannay goes back for it. So too does Prince. Josh Hannay gets to it first. The pass away to Scott Prince. Williams was first to get him going in underneath. Shearer on the second tackle. Still only 12 from his own line. Kyle Warren reaches the North Queensland 20. Now they elect to go wide. From Duneman to Nandruku to Mercy. And his confrontation continues with Marcus Bai. This time he can't get around the Papua New Guinea test player. Back to Duneman once more, looking for space. Has to throw his pass wide. Again it comes to Dale Shearer. Final tackle for North Queensland, still just on their own side of halfway. Steve Walters was caught, got it back to Duneman. They're on the last still. Wide it goes to Ferris. Wider still it goes to Hannay. Hannay kicks back on the inside, hoping Scott Prince will chase. Robbie Ross, though, covered it well for Melbourne, and Ross is tackled 28 from his own line.
It was a pretty ordinary kick. Would have been a better option to try and put the ball over the Cuttleby's defending fullback's head, turn him around.
Carlaw looking to link up with Martin. Tackle made on him, though, by Chris Tassett. Martin runs from dummy half, reaches the halfway mark for Melbourne. Now to Nickau. Sent his pass to Paul Marquette. The moment he got it, though, he was taken by the North Queensland defence. Here comes the last. Kamali kicks straight into the clutches, though, of Hannay. Trying to get around the defence. Can't do so. Will be put to ground by Aaron Moore. Fritz on his own 30. Now to Warren. Lomax wanting to get that roll on. Throws it wide, and Andruku can't take it. Mercy does, but knocked on.
There is no advantage. Scrum. Melbourne losing two.
Knocked on by North Queensland. So the loose head and feed goes the way of Melbourne as Glenn Lazarus comes back from the interchange bench for the last couple of minutes.
Well, Peter Mulholland, it really does look like clutching at straws at the moment, doesn't it? They don't seem to have any direct plan on how they're going to hit it. It's throw the ball wide and hope.
Exactly right, Wally. It's just no control, is there, again, from the two halves, as you said in the first half. Someone needs to control that, and they're not doing it. But that happened probably with 12 minutes to go when they had plenty of time left on the clock.
Hill almost getting through a gap. Back to Ross. Robbie Ross loses the ball. North Queensland will pick it up and quickly start to attack. To Nandruku. Coming down the short side, Noah Nandruku. Ball lost by Noah Nandruku.
It was all trying to be a bit quick. It was all trying to be a bit quick, but it's a knock-on.
Yes, it was all about trying to be too quick, but you've got to have a look where the Melbourne players' feet were. They were in the middle of the ruck. It's very difficult for him to play the ball. Just watch, he goes to put it down. Out comes the right foot of Scott Hill. It's very difficult for Scotty Hill to pull out of it as well. Probably a tough decision for him to call, Brian Grant. I thought he was going backwards at the same time. And there's some more claret coming, John. Nadruku now the one that's bleeding.
Yep.
So we're inside the last minute, and Melbourne will simply have to run down this set of 6 to go away with another tough victory, but another victory on the road. Gee, they've done a great job, the Storm. Leading by 10 to 8. They'll simply want to run down the clock. Frame. 32 out from the line. Now back to Nickau. Just short of the North Queensland 20, Nickau plays it. To Kamali. Takes it to the line. Got his pass away to Frame. He'll be put to ground. Now to Lazarus. Glenn Lazarus will go to ground. Final tackle of the game. Well done, the Melbourne Storm. Not easy to win up here in North Queensland, particularly when you're used to the cold of Melbourne to train in. They come up to still pretty warm conditions in North Queensland, but it means that North Queensland, probably a game that got away from them and one that they could rue at the end of the season if they don't make the final 10. But for Melbourne, a terrific record. They've only lost one game away. That was when they went to Auckland to play the Warriors.